We're going to start off with love-hate running backs as we take a look. Matthew, at your top 10 running backs this week. We have a few on bye, but a lot of the big names up there, headlined by Jahmyr Gibbs, who plays tonight. Devin Achane has been on an absolute tear. And then James Cook, second in the NFL in rushing yards. He had a career-high 32 carries last week, and we heard from his offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, on James Cook.
I saw Jimbo pregame, and he just had that look in his eyes. And it's such a kind of a dumb thing to say, but like he was ready to rock. I tried not to ever have a guy get 30 carries, and so we were trying to make sure we were rotating him as it went. But the way that he was running it, you don't want to take him out too. And Ray did a great job on some of those drives. It was good to finally be able to get some of those guys going, get some carries. But we were able to run it that many times. You're able to do that. But Jimbo had that look in his eye, and I felt like he ran like that.
Okay, thoughts, Lawrence, on the nickname Jimbo?
I like Jimmy better.
Jimbo.
Yeah, Jimbo, like, I just think about big lumberjack and cutting down trees and stuff. Like, Jimmy seems sleek and quick, like what James Cook is.
Yeah, Jimbo implies a width that isn't really there with James Cook. Yeah, much more of a
he's not a guard, he's a running back.
Indeed. Well, Jimmy, whatever his name is, Matthew, he should have a big week this week against the Bengals. The Bengals' opponents are frequent mainstay on the love list for running backs. Have you got any Bengals defense stats for us this time?
You know what I do? Running backs that see at least 15 touches against Cincinnati this year are averaging over 21 fantasy points per game. Basically, if you get work against the Bengals, you score fantasy points, and we expect Jimbo Cook to get at least a lot of work. He's averaging 21 touches per game. He's had at least 15 touches in every single game. So you think about that. He's had at least 15 touches in every single game. Running backs that get at least 15 touches against the Bengals average over 21 fantasy points per game. Ergo, therefore, bingo, bango. Obviously, James Cook going to have a monster game this week. He's my running back 3 for a reason. The other thing that's exciting, by the way, they're starting to use him in the passing game, Jay. I think this is important as well. He's had an 11% target share over his last 4 games. He's had at least 3 receptions in each one of those games. He was actually their leading receiver against the Steelers. It was only 33 yards. But, he was legitimately the Bills' leading receiver against Pittsburgh. So, yeah, big day coming from James Cook. I'm not comfortable with the nickname Jimbo, although I will say that if we're going with Jimbo Cook, he's officially my favorite Jimbo, because previously the only Jimbo that I knew was Jimbo Fisher, who took Texas A&M and just kind of took $90 million to run him into the ground. And so, we're anti-Jimbo Fisher on this show. I am pro-Jimbo Cook.
Okay, Greg, thank you for clarifying that. Jonathan Medici, 7 Shocker, Evil J hates a nickname. Death and taxes. I just think we can do better than Jimbo. James Cook.
Look, see, right, and I'm with you on that. I think we all have just said we agree that Jimbo, it just don't match with a player like James Cook. Like he too good. Like Jimbo is like a fun backup type of player who come in like Ryan Fitzpatrick or something. That's who you get names like Jimbo to, not a James Cook.
Yeah, there's other names. A bit of a controversial figure in history, but Captain Cook. Who this was brought British settlers to Australia. That's one. There's other names. We can do better than Jimbo. We also need a nickname, Lawrence, for Kyron Williams, who doesn't. I don't think he has one, but he's on the love list for you, and he plays the Cardinals.
Yeah, and for good reason he's on here this week, despite recently losing touches to Blake Corum. It's getting closer to a 50-50 timeshare, but Kyron Williams, rushing touchdown in 4 out of his last 5 games, going up against this Cardinals defense that has allowed at least 30 receiving yards to the running back position in 3 straight games. A running back has scored versus the Cardinals 4 straight games. Just a lot of Cardinals stats you could go with here. They're 22nd against the run over the past 4 weeks, and we know that LA Rams defense is near the goal line often. Now, most of the time they're throwing slants or fades to Devontae Adams, but like I said, Kyron Williams has still been getting in the end zone, and that's kind of been like carrying his fantasy value over the last few weeks. So on my love list this week.
Very good. I should have the chat up more often during these shows. Some great comments here. about James Cook. Some of the nicknames in here, there's some strange ones. Magnolia Cook, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The Cookler, Aaron Cashman 33. The chef, which I don't know. Yeah, I get it because it's Cook. But
well, James Cook actually, I'm pretty sure his picture on his profile for social media is him looking like Chef Boyardee. So that one probably would suffice.
You know what? I've actually go ahead, Matthew.
What about Let as a nickname? Let James Cook.
That's very elaborate. No, that's no good.
See what I'm doing there?
I've actually
those that would know would know.
Yeah, all right, I've actually got the answer. But first, Aaron Cashman, 33, flexual frustrations. Guys, do I start Kyron, Debo, Vele, Jaden Higgins in the flex? I still think it's Kyron Williams.
Oh, yeah,
Matthew.
this Kyron easy for me.
Yeah.
That's too cute. That is getting way too cute.
I've got it. The nickname for James Cook. It's, if you watch Better Call Saul, Slippin' Jimmy. Because he slips through tackles, right?
Okay, yeah.
You like that? All right.
Slippin' Jimmy.
Let's get it going. Slippin' Jimmy. All right, Bucky Irving, Matthew, who looked good in his return. I think better than we all expected. Got a huge workload against the Cardinals last week and now plays New Orleans. As we look at his snap rate against the Cardinals, 54% snap rate. 17 carries, though, Matthew. That was the big thing. And now the Bucs more than touchdown favorites at home to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's the point. So you see the 17 rushing attempts. Turns out Bucky Irving, in his first game back, despite Todd Bowles being like, well, we're going to work him in, he got 81% of Tampa Bay's running back rushes in his first game back last week. And most importantly, he got 100% of the Buccaneers' goal-to-go rushing attempts. When they got in close, they only gave it to Bucky Irving. And you mentioned this matchup against the Saints, where they're heavily favored. We know Baker Mayfield's still struggling a little bit as well. We talked about him yesterday on the show. But we expect them to be able to run and run effectively against this Saints team. They've given up a rushing touchdown, the Saints have, to a running back in 5 of their past 6 games. They're allowing the 3rd most rushing yards per game to running back since week 9. So it's a team that you can effectively run against. Bucky Irving gets a lot of work. He's my 7th ranked running back this week.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to add Quinshon Judkins to the love list. The reason why is that even when they're losing, the Browns still give Quinshon Judkins 20, 25 carries. Yeah. Now he's a favorite. Quinshon Judkins is never a favorite. He might actually have game script.
By a lot, too. Like, it's not a
it's north of a field goal now. A game that the Browns are expected to win against the Titans, whose rush defense with Jeffrey Simmons isn't terrible, but it's not the Browns' rush defense either. So Quinshon Judkins, I think that he very good chance that he gets north of 20 carries. And if you're going to get north of 20 carries, then you should be able to get 90 rushing yards. And I think that Quinshon Judkins will be able to do that. Let's get to others receiving.
You know what? Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
It's interesting here just about this game real quickly. I was doing radio yesterday. So I did a bunch of radio yesterday in Kansas City because I'm going to be in Kansas City for Football Night in America and our friends at DraftKings as well. Sports betting has gone live in Missouri. So heading out there, I'm excited to do that for our friends at DraftKings. And obviously I'll be there on the sideline at Arrowhead for Football Night in America. But so I did a bunch of radio yesterday, and one of the guys asked me, the reason I'm bringing this up is one of the guys asked me, he was talking about a survivor pool. And he said basically, his choices were either Philadelphia this week, against the Chargers or Cleveland. And, all of his co-hosts were like, obviously you go with Philadelphia. And I said, actually, I don't think so. I actually think you go with Cleveland here. I said, because you're never going to want to use the Browns. If ever there was a week to use the Browns in a survivor pool, it's when you're at home against Tennessee. Like, you feel better about Myles Garrett against Cam Ward than you do in any other sort of scenario here. I think the Browns win this game, Jay, and I'm not convinced the Eagles go to LA and beat the Chargers, honestly. So I just thought I think this is an interesting game, and that where we normally shy away from Browns players, I think given the fact that they are at home and going against the Titans, I think the Browns suddenly become, I think Fannin becomes kind of interesting, and I agree with you on Judkins.
Yep. Well, the interesting thing there is that the Browns are a bigger favorite.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I feel more confident. I feel more confident that the Browns could beat the Titans more than the Eagles could go to LA, beat the Chargers. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Question from Aloha Bricks: Lawrence Judkins or Javonte Williams?
Oh, I would go Javonte Williams here. He's gotten back on track. You got what's the over under here? 54.5, highest total of week 14. I'll go Javonte Williams.
Do you prefer that to the 33.5 total in Browns Titans?
Just a little bit. And although
it's 3 touchdowns different.
although that's crazy. Although Quinshon Judkins will go north of 20 carries and probably he'll get 2 touchdowns, he'll probably get somewhere like 72 yards because that's just how it goes for Quinshon Judkins. I like Javonte Williams more for the explosive play, so I will go Javonte Williams.
I agree with you, Lawrence. Javonte Williams actually makes my others receiving votes for the love list as well. 3 straight games with over 20 touches. He's top 10 among running backs in terms of touches, averaging over 19 a game. We know this. Javonte Williams is their workhorse back, their bell cow running back. And by the way, especially when they get in close. Since week 7, he's tied for the 3rd most red zone rush attempts among opposing running backs. So I'm with you on Javonte Williams. We'll talk about this game a little bit later today, but I think you want as much of this Lions Cowboys game tonight as you can get.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, Matthew, you foreshadowed that Javonte Williams was on others receiving votes. Let's take a look at those other names too. Chase Brown against the Bills and Kyle Monangai against the Packers.
Yeah, Chase Brown in the 2 full games he's played with Joe Burrow this year, he's got 45 touches. 45 touches over 2 games and a 15% target share. So, running backs to see a lot of work against Buffalo generally do fairly well. We already talked about Javonte Williams. But how about my guy, Kyle Monangai? 4 straight games with a rushing touchdown. He's gotten 71% of the Bears' goal line rushing attempts over that span. And over the last 2 weeks, again, with DeAndre Swift still back, over the last 2 weeks, he's had over 50% of the Bears' running back touches. I think we saw against Philadelphia, this is what they want to do. They want to run Swift. It is Thunder and Lightning. It is Knuckles and Sonic, whatever nickname you want to go. But Ben Johnson is doing in Chicago what he did in Detroit, which is use 2 running backs effectively against each other. And so Monangai is a viable flex for me, even against a tough Packers defense. He's my running back 26 this week.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com. And I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.